Hello, 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 and welcome back to Hats Off Sorting.
Ooh.
This is Ron.
This is Peeve.
And this is Fred.
And today we are going to be deep diving into a great movie and sorting them into the Hogwarts houses as always. Warning once again for this podcast, as always, we are all adults here, so we will not be watching our language or the content that we are discussing. There may be adult themes. Also, there will be spoilers. And this week, we will be spoiling West Side Story.
Or as Fred keeps calling it, Broadway.
It just makes sense, okay?
I mean, yeah, that'd be a good name for it, too.
I mean, I guess, whatever.
You're not wrong. So, West Side Story. I lost my paper. West Side Story was released October 18th in 1961. It is set in 1950s New York in the Upper West Side. It is a musical, which other than Disney movies, I think this is our first musical, which is cool. And it was
last.
No.
Yeah,
musicals
no.
are
The first
awesome.
of
I
many.
don't care what
First
you say.
of many.
Also, Pitch Perfect is not a musical,
No, it is not.
but it's
No.
still amazing.
It's so great, but it's not a musical. And it was very loosely based off of, well, not too loosely,
Not
actually, based
loosely.
off of Romeo and Juliet.
It's pretty much adhered to it.
But
Like,
it
they even have a
definitely
balcony
feels-
scene.
It feels very loose. Like when you're watching it, like honestly, I wasn't thinking about Romeo and Juliet at all. It
But once
still
you
felt
get
like its
into
own.
it, though, it's totally Romeo and Juliet. Like, everything.
It is. And the biggest thing for me, though, that kind of differentiated, and the reason why I said loosely is because of, she survives. Maria survives. the
Yeah,
whole
that's
story.
exactly what I was thinking.
Romeo and Juliet, both of them die.
True.
Which is the tragic part of the whole.
Yeah.
But there's
very
there's
story.
whole scenes that is just Romeo and Juliet.
This is true. There's whole scenes, like you said, the balcony scene, or the whole scene where they get married.
Yeah,
Heavy air
see,
quotes in
that
the
was.
church.
I feel like it's very loosely because they symbolically.
Well, even like the whole message not getting to him and the wrong message being delivered that she's dead. Spoiler yet again, he dies.
And yet
because
neither
you
of
know.
them were suicides, which I think
Yeah,
is also
that's
very
true.
important. Like he didn't even get the chance to like really react.
But isn't it a suicide when you go looking for someone who's trying to kill you, who's looking to kill you?
Oh,
Yeah, his was kinda
It
suicidal.
was because he goes looking for Chino and he goes, "Chino, kill me too, kill me." Is that not suicide?
Yeah.
Even
think
though
it
he
is.
didn't pull the trigger
Yes.
himself.
I mean, if you count suicide by cop, you kind of have to count suicide by angry gang member.
Yeah, that's exactly where my head was going.
But angry, jealous
Not
friend,
boyfriend.
not boyfriend, fiance.
Parent-appointed fiance.
Okay,
Yeah.
Or brother, I guess.
should we go a little bit through the story to?
Yeah,
I
we
guess
can do a
kind of
quick
make it a
rundown.
little more understanding.
It's basically Romeo and Juliet. Like we said, it's boy meets girl. No, it's first of all boy in gang. He is an ex-member
Founding
and founding
gang
member.
member.
Yeah, an ex-founding gang member of the gang, the Jets, and the leader of the Jets now is Riff. The Jets have a rivalry going with the Sharks, who are a Puerto Rican gang led by Bernardo. Yeah, Nardo, who is great and has a girlfriend, Anita, who is the best thing in the entire movie.
Rita Moreno. Oh my god.
I
fucking
love her.
I'm so excited
much.
to house her.
Oh my
I'm-
god,
oh,
same.
I'm very
hell
excited for
yeah.
that discussion.
I'm
Oh,
so
yeah.
excited. I think she's like the one that I'm most excited to talk about.
All right.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
She's
she's
my
the best.
favorite character in this whole musical.
She's the best.
Agreed.
She's
And
awesome.
then just Rita Moreno is like amazing. Like I think in the whole film, she is the most authentic. Not only because she's the only Hispanic basically that is actually represented in this, and even she gets like I think she got like brown faced too because she
A
looks a
little
lot
bit.
darker than she is.
Or you can
know?
definitely tell there's makeup on
Yeah.
these faces.
Yeah.
That's a thing
Ugh,
too that we will say. It is a movie that was made in the 60s. They definitely took a whole bunch of white boys and painted them brown and called them Hispanic.
Yeah, it's very difficult to watch as, yes, sometimes, especially in this day and time.
Yeah, it's a little rough.
you as people who, you know, enjoy to watch films and to critique them, we
And
understand timelines and we understand the development of cinematography and filmmaking and story making. A lot of the first movies were filmed plays. That's
Yes.
what a movie was, and that's what it is. But
Mhm.
people, it's developed so much into the art of actually acting, and you get the chance to do things over and over again in film, so there's just more chance to be more authentic with the acting and with actually feeling like you're inside of it. So we understand that there's a timeline with that, and there's a timeline to do and participate in an art that is so out of people's reach. Honestly, like, we know, like, it is very expensive, and it's a very expensive hobby, and it's a hobby. Yes, people put their entire lives into this, but it's still a hobby. It's not a quote unquote essential. And I'm not putting people out there because I am a cinematographer and a photographer, and I understand that struggle. So there's an understanding that it came from a certain class of people and it's developed from there. And so we are going to see that systematic racism because of that. And it is difficult to see, but it's definitely still good to see that acting, good to be proud of where it has gone.
Yeah, and it's good to see too, because as much as that was super racist, they also touched on a lot of really hard-hitting issues on racism in this movie, and we'll
Like,
talk
they
about
pointed
really
out,
did.
like, it's not like they're trying to hide it. They're like, this is what's going on. Like,
yeah.
It's literally white against brown.
Oh, it's literally.
Exactly.
And there's legitimately a detective or a lieutenant. He's a lieutenant who kicks a whole bunch of them out for being Puerto Rican.
That's right. So yeah, he kicked them out of the candy store for being Puerto Rican. Like there was no other reason. He just was like, they're Puerto Rican, get the fuck out of here, and then try to make nice with the white boys who were still immigrants. By the way, children of immigrants, because they were Polish and Italian and whatever else.
Yeah, like it's never specifically said except for Nardwell calling them Americans who's really a Polak. But you can definitely like visually draw conclusions that they're not all the same kind of white. Like there are some blonde, blue-eyed like Ice and Riff.
Baby John.
Well,
Riff had too. He had like the really curly brown hair. He might have had something in him.
Right.
That's true.
And then there's like an Arab, you know, but then there's what's his name? Action.
Yes.
And he's like the hothead,
Joey.
which we'll get into. He has
Joey.
like darker features.
He looks like Joey from Friends.
Yeah, he looks like Joey Tribbiani. Basically, or not LeBlanc. But yeah, he looks Italian.
Yeah.
You know? So,
Oh yeah. And I'm sure there were a couple of different, because Italian counted for whatever, value of it was. Yeah.
At this point in time.
Yeah.
Because there was a time where
it didn't.
Other whites did not count Italian or Irish.
And even nowadays, still there are ones that are you're white on paper, but if your skin is darker because you're mixed, for like Italians, for Spaniards, for Portuguese, for other European countries where they sailed a lot, where their blood mixed a lot, you only count if you look white.
Well, okay, also, getting into the if you look white, technically, Mexicans are white.
Yeah.
Under the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, Mexicans were supposed to be considered white when the U.S. took over, whatever, the Southwest. So over Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, and California. That was part of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, that Mexicans are considered white so that they could be landowners.
Mm-hmm.
So that the white, I don't know, like not mulattoes, they're called, what are they called?
What do they call us?
The ones that are mixed.
That was, yeah.
You know,
I mean, I don't know if that was a derogatory term, but I've heard the term.
Yes, so that the mestizos could, keep their land, or even like the Spanish that were born here.
But of course, that didn't happen.
Stuff, it's a whole other discussion. But Mexicans, legally, we are white.
Yeah.
But they have created another category for us under Latino, Hispanic, a whole bunch of other stuff.
So they can be assholes.
Yeah, technically, we are white.
Yeah, good to know. But yeah, there's all sorts of it's you only count if you look a certain way, even though your blood says yeah, and or it doesn't say. Honestly, it's all stupid in the first place.
Yep.
But the point being that like yes, there's definitely some various races mixed in, and a lot of them seem to be immigrants. They did not seem to be like back till the founding times Americans for the most part.
I mean,
some of them might have been
Native American.
You're not. Yeah, that too. That's true too. Okay. We got off track because we were summarizing the movie.
Yes.
Lol.
Yes.
So,
story of this podcast.
It's right. Tell me about it. This podcast should just be about tangents.
You should call it the tangent.
Oh God. So, there's these two gangs. It's the Jets and the Sharks, and they are getting into fights all the time and whatever. So they decide that they're going to set up a rumble between the two gangs. They are high school students, which is something I didn't pick up on when I watched this when I was younger. They're all kids. I definitely thought that they were adults, but they're like in high school.
Like it starts out at like a school dance, and the oldest that you can be, because it takes part in the gym, you know. Yeah,
part of it it's in a gym. They're on the playground a lot. They're still living with their parents. Like they're all in high school still. They're still children.
Tying back to Romeo and Juliet, where they are teenagers themselves. Isn't Juliet like 12 or 14 or something?
I think in the original she was 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like 13.
And therefore making harsh decisions based on emotion.
Yes. Yeah, and like Romeo was probably like 15, 16-ish, you know?
Yeah.
So, I'm just saying it ties back to Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, it does. So, because that's the whole Romeo and Juliet is about. It's that young love and the crazy, like, burning passion of it, and the way that it can tear people apart and bring them together. Mm-hmm. But anyways,
it happens over a weekend.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. No, it's so fast. So they go to this dance to set up the rumble, to play nice with each other for a little bit, and the ex-founding member, Tony, ends up meeting Bernardo, the leader of the Puerto Rican gang of the Sharks, his little sister, Maria, who has just come to this country. We assume that she's about 15. And the two of them meet, and there's an instant connection. The whole world fades away. They fall in love with each other, and then the whole rest of the movie is basically the antics of these gangs setting up this rumble, and Maria and Tony finding time to sneak away together until the rumble happens. Tony tried to get it down from like weapons to fist fights. He did that. And then Maria was freaked out about it, so he went to try and stop it altogether, and somehow Bernardo ended up killing Riff, and then Riff ended up and then Tony ended up killing Bernardo. So then Tony was going to turn himself in. Maria begged him not to, so he decided to go on the run together. And then he got a message. Yeah, they were kind of married. They had imagined themselves getting married. So they decided to go on the run together, but he was waiting for her, and due to unforeseen circumstances that we will discuss, he was told that she was dead, even though she wasn't, and so he went out trying to find Chino, who is the man that Bernardo tried to engage his sister to, in order for him to be killed by Chino. He wants Chino to shoot him.
Looking for Tony to avenge Nardo's death.
Yes, he has a gun and he wants to shoot him. So Tony goes out looking for him, and instead he finds Maria, but just as he's about to hug her, Chino shoots Tony, and Maria ends with a very powerful and moving speech about violence and killing each other and hate, and how many bullets are in this gun to have enough. How many people here can I kill and still have enough bullets, still have one more left for me? And that is how the movie ends with
That just gave me chills.
I know, right? It's so good. It's such a good movie. And that's how it ends, with her mourning Tony, with the two gangs coming together to carry his body away. Chino gets arrested. I didn't realize that when I watched it as a kid, too, because it's kind of in the background. But Chino gets arrested, and Maria walks away with a black shawl in mourning for her lost love.
Okay.
Yes. So that is the summary of the movie.
And she doesn't end up killing herself.
She does not end up killing herself. That is one of the bigger differences, is that she survives. So, on that note, we will start with Maria.
Okay. I think she's a Slytherin.
You think she's a Slytherin?
I think she's a Slytherin.
Interesting.
Why is that?
because she does everything within her power to convince those around her to get what she wants. How did she manipulate Anita to go give the message to Tony after Tony had just killed Anita's love?
Yeah, but she's not good at it.
No.
She tries to be sneaky. She's horrible.
I honestly think she's too stupid to be a Slytherin.
Kind of same.
Yeah.
Because think about that one scene where they're in the bridal shop and Tony comes in and Anita's like, yeah, okay. And she's trying to be like, well, he just came from the drugstore. And like, why would you set it up to have him come right after closing to this place that you worked when you know that there are going to be other people around who know you? Why would you not set up to meet somewhere neutral where you might not run into someone you know instead of the place where you work with your future sister-in-law who's definitely going to bust you?
Yeah, it's not very cunning.
Like, it's dumb.
It's not strategic in any way.
I mean, she definitely tries a couple times, but I feel like that's more like teenage desperation than Slytherin cunning.
Right.
And then I honestly don't know where to put her because I'm just like,
She's not a Hufflepuff.
she's not a Hufflepuff.
She's okay. Yeah, she's definitely not a Hufflepuff.
No.
No.
We can roll places out. We just decided she's not really a Slytherin. At least we think. We can argue it more, too.
No, it's
She's not a Hufflepuff for sure, though. Because literally, Gino goes, oh, there was a knife and your brother. And she goes, what about Tony?
Yeah, I'm like,
That's your brother.
Bitch. Oh, man, I was so upset about that. I was so upset about that.
That pissed me off.
He could not even fucking get it out of him to tell her
And then
that her own brother was fucking dead. And all she cared about was Tony.
Exactly. And then she finally learns, he finally tells her, no, Tony killed your brother. And she turns around and sleeps with him.
Yeah, literally the same night.
I think she's too stupid to Ravenclaw, and she's not very brave.
Yeah.
She's just stupid. Like, I just think she's a stupid teenage girl. Like,
She's
she sleeps with her brother's killer right after he killed her brother.
I would say bravery, though. I could see Gryffindor, actually, now I'm thinking about it more.
I don't see Gryffindor in her.
Well, she doesn't, like, run away or anything. She's very much, she sees him and she goes out of her way to try and see him. She makes these brash decisions. Like I said, hey, come to the place where I work where there's definitely people who know me who can get me in trouble. Hey, let's sneak out here. Hey, let's run away together. Hey, let's send my ex-future sister-in-law who's to my boyfriend just killed her boyfriend. Let's send her into a place with known rival gang members by herself as a woman to deliver this message to the man that killed her fiance.
Oh my god, but can we talk about that? Light.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to that. We'll talk about that. But yeah, no.
Also warning, yes, that will be a topic a little bit later. If that trigger warning.
Yes.
Trigger warning. There is
it's
I
like
would say light rape. It's not an actual rape scene, but it is very much implied.
It's a lead up.
Yes.
It is.
like we said, it's a musical, so in their own way, that's what they're representing in their dance.
But no, I feel like she is. She's impulsive.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say, I feel like she's just a shitty Gryffindor.
Okay.
As a Gryffindor, I like when we were already saying like she's too stupid to be Slytherin, she's too stupid to be Ravenclaw, she's definitely a Hufflepuff. I felt it coming, and I'm like, God damn, she's just one of those. She's one of those.
It happens, man.
It's just like, fuck, just go figure it out over there. Like you got enough guts to go figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
The only Hufflepuff trait-ish that I could argue, but I also think she did not go around it the right way, was that she wanted to stop the fight altogether and she wanted everyone to get along.
Well, yeah, but I would say that's more of her naivety rather than because look what that came from. You're not going to start a fight by sending in a guy that your brother already hates to try and stop the fight. Like that was.
How much did she really know what was going on, though?
I don't think she knew how serious things were.
Yeah,
like
that's
said,
exactly.
No, she didn't know how serious things were. But like, I'm sorry, I have a brother, and he's a younger brother. He's not an older brother. If my brother saw someone that he thought would hurt me, kiss me, and then pulled me away. I mean, he couldn't. That's just not the way our relationship works. But this is potential. If I was in that place, basically, and my brother pulled me away from this guy, told me he was dangerous for me, was very angry, because he was very angry in front of her about her kissing this boy, I would not be stupid enough to think like, oh, hey, that's a good person to send to talk to him. Because she didn't have to know how serious it had gotten behind the scenes. She just knows, hey, my brother doesn't like this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is a serious thing that's happening, a fight, a rumble. Again, she is 15, so there's a little bit of that naivety there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like she's just a squib. Sometimes. Maybe.
A little bit.
I was thinking about that, but then you did mention the bravery part and courage, so she may just be, she may have a little bit of a stupid, shitty Gryffindor. Like, and they exist. They out
Yeah. Just too impulsive,
I mean, Wormtail was a Gryffindor.
This is
true. This is true.
Precisely,
And you can't really say that because she was pretty brave multiple different times.
Yeah, I mean, she literally got in the middle of all of these gang members after and grabbed Chino's pistol and freaking shot. Like,
she also
pointed it at everyone. Like, that takes
She
guts to
also
lift a gun
stood
and
up
point it
to
at someone.
Lieutenant
Yeah,
Frank.
she did.
Who
That's
is
true.
And let it be known too that along with racism, there's also a lot of sexism
Oh yes,
and police brutality, essentially.
Yes.
Like,
again, light version.
bullying.
It's a
Very
musical.
very light versions, but
Racism, yes.
if you listen, it's there.
Yeah.
If you really pay attention and you're analyzing it like we are.
That's how we're
you
watching
are
things
going
now.
to find so many things that are still going on right now. This was based in the 1950s. You know what? A lot of people look to the 50s as through rose-colored glasses. When men were men and women were women and white picket fences. But a lot of people forget that there was so much racism back then, especially for just black and brown people.
Oh yeah, and sexism. The sexism was crazy. I've heard women be like, "Oh, I'd love to go back to the 50s." I'm like, "Bitch, I wouldn't. I would not have.
No rights.
I would have no rights. I would have no prospects. I would just be a housewife."
Exactly.
One of the most natural things for a woman, I'm saying natural in quotation marks, is childbirth. The doctors wouldn't once they discovered you can put the woman under so she doesn't suffer through childbirth. They wouldn't even ask her in occasions if she wanted a C-section. They would just do it. They'd put her to sleep, do a C-section, get the baby out, and then what if she wanted to have a natural childbirth?
Yeah,
she
we
had
have.
no choice.
And you think about even modern day. Have you guys heard of the husband snip?
Yes, isn't that a recent past law?
Oh, I don't know if there's a law been passed. I haven't heard anything.
I have no
But
idea about it. You want to tell me?
so basically, stitch. It's the husband stitch.
Okay.
It's when a woman has given birth. Sometimes you need to stitch up because they
Oh,
tear.
she tears. Okay.
And
They
the
add
husband stitch. No, the husband
Oh.
stitch is an extra stitch they put in so that the vagina is tighter for
Yeah.
when they have sex.
That one, yeah.
And they do
Oh,
not
okay,
ask
that's
the
not what
female,
I
the woman.
thought it was, but
Oh,
that's
shit.
bitchy.
Yeah, that's just a thing that
I
doctors
had heard
do.
about it. I
Ugh.
had heard about it. This is gonna be I don't know if it's messed up. Now that I think about it, it is. I was, family, whatever, gathering, and they were talking about that. So they were talking, my aunt starts talking about, childbirth or whatever, and how, when she had, one of her kids, she tore, and, they had to, stitch her or whatever, right? And then they go, yeah, if you have a good doctor, they'll ask your husband how tight they want it.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's caused complications for women. It's caused pain and shit like that for women.
I bet it is, because if you're used to something and they want it tighter, and if it's not gonna be it's not the same.
No. And that's not their decision to make either.
Right.
It's even stupid things. I know a girl who she was in at the dentist's, and the dentist filed down her canine teeth because he was like, "Oh, you don't want those teeth to be too pointy, a guy won't like that." And he filed them down without asking her.
What the fuck?
See, at
What
least
if I like
as annoying as
Right?
as annoying and sexually harassing dentist was low key, but it was annoying. He did ask me, he's like, "Oh, do you want me to file down your teeth?" And I'm like, "No, I like my vampire teeth.
Yeah.
Fuck off my vampire teeth." No. He was like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure. Leave my teeth alone." He's like, "All right."
Dude, it's crazy. It's
not
insane.
medically necessary. I don't want it done.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, anyways, we got way off target.
Yes.
Point being,
Important things, but
Maria.
let's get back to it.
Is
a Gryffindor.
Shitty Gryffindor.
Shitty Gryffindor.
Yes. Okay.
Wah, wah, wah.
Tony. Kind of also a Gryffindor.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I was watching this movie, and this is why I needed to go over our house trait characters again, because I was like, let's look again. I'm like, the kind of thing that takes Gryffindors out there is that they have this stupid sense of bravery that they just throw themselves out there, and they're like, it's
They're
faith,
like, yeah,
you know.
I can do it.
It's faith that, like, yeah, I can do this. Like, it could be courage, it could be ego, whatever it is. It's a stupid sense of bravery. Sometimes it's a valid sense of bravery, or that's what I call courage. So a lot of these people have it, and I mean, we're just special kitties. I don't know what I'm saying, but yes,
Yeah, another.
yeah.
He's not a shitty Gryffindor, but he's a stupid Gryffindor.
I think he is just a high school jock Gryffindor.
Okay,
In that sense,
I can go with that. I kind of he's one of the hard ones for me because I don't know to put him in Gryffindor.
because honestly, the whole time he was in love.
Yeah, because you can't even put him in like Hufflepuff because
I was kind of getting Cedric vibes, but no.
yeah, because I wanted to put him in Hufflepuff, but at the same time, he's not even that loyal to his.
Anyone
No.
besides
Yeah.
Maria.
Exactly.
woke
And
up
that's
with
why
that song in my head, by the way.
I could have.
I woke up with that song in my head.
Maria. No, because I definitely would have considered Hufflepuff for him and for Maria a lot more, except they're only loyal to each other. They're not loyal to anybody else.
Exactly.
And they have other people that they say are important to them, and they're not loyal to them, and like at all,
Like
almost.
Riff, like he womb to tomb, birth to earth,
Yeah.
and
Well, actually, no, he is loyal to Riff. He is more than Maria.
Why he killed Bernardo.
That's true.
That's exactly why because he killed Riff from womb to tomb, and then his instinct reaction was to kill him. We all saw his face. As soon as he got that knife in the abdomen, he was like, fuck, what did I just do?
Yeah.
And his immediate answer after that was what? Maria!
Yeah.
And that's the instant fuck up reality that you're under
He
this
also-
potion of fucking love.
he also showed up to the dance when he didn't want to.
That's true. I didn't. The more we're talking about it, the more I'm actually seeing Hufflepuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Because he unlike Maria, he is loyal still to the Jets to an extent. He's trying to move on with his life. You could argue too, though, hardworking. He's the only one of them with a job. He works,
and
he
that's
works,
the reason. That's the only reason he's the ex head.
Yeah, he's the ex. Well,
Leader.
he's still a founder.
He's the
like,
founding member, but he's
not
as
as
active,
active,
which
and
is
involved
why
with it.
it's so important that he still was there for Riff when he asked him to be there.
yes, this is true. And he it's a throwaway line. It's just mentioned too. But Riff lives with Tony and his family. He lives on his couch. Lived
for a while.
Yeah. No, he still does. Because that was the whole joke is, what, well, you're crashing, why are you crashing on my couch then? Why are you still there? And he's like, because your mom's hot for me.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That's true. Because your mom's got the hots for me.
Yeah. So he lets his best friend live with him at his home. And, you know, yeah, the more we're talking, the more I'm seeing Hufflepuff, honestly.
Okay.
I agree.
I'm good with that. That's kind of what I have written down. But it was kind of hard between, you know.
Yeah, he's still very dumb and impulsive, but again, he's a teenager, so that could just be that.
Awesome.
Okay, so Hufflepuff?
Hufflepuff. Alrighty. Bernardo.
Slytherin?
Yeah. I could see
I
it.
don't know why, but I have Gryffindor on there. And I think it might just be
Is he a good leader?
the fighting. That he's very, like, ready to
He's
fight.
very
He's
aggressive.
very
A
aggressive.
hothead as well.
Right.
Yes. I'd
'Cause
say
he
it
was
was
the
too.
one that was also, like, he kept egging Tony on to do the fight.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'll take ice as a warm-up, whatever, but I want you. And
Yeah.
I feel like, for some reason, I feel like that's a very, like, evil Gryffindor. Not evil Gryffindor, but just, like, again, a hothead Gryffindor. Like, they're just, like,
Yeah.
on fire. I mean, let's go. It's fire, you know? That's what Gryffindor is. That's what the lion is. They're just like, I need I want to fucking punch you.
Yeah.
The more I think about it, I kind of what I was gonna argue for Slytherin. You can also apply it for Gryffindor.
Yeah,
Is that
because
he is an immigrant. He is a first generation immigrant, and he is trying to succeed. And he has become the leader of this gang that is going up against an
and they look up to
established
him.
gang. Because the Jets do talk about they beat off the Emeralds and the Hawks already, and now they're going up against the Sharks.
Yeah, you look at why he did though too, and it's interesting because he remember when they're talking in in Doc's shop is they're who jumped Baby John? Who jumped me my first day? And he's still holding that grudge.
Yeah,
like he's very much like, no, you wronged me. Fuck off, which is I feel like a kind of a Gryffindor thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's definitely a Slytherin. Grudges
prideful.
are Slytherin things too, but the Gryffindor too. They'll hold on to that shit and dig in. Yeah. Yeah, no, actually, I do see a lot of Gryffindor too, because wasn't he the first one to pull the knife too?
No,
that was
the same time.
Yeah, that was the simultaneous.
That was the very
flash.
dramatic, synchronized knife pulling out of
it was at the same time. I thought it was one after the other.
No, because Riff also wanted to get into it. He was like, well, we'll fight whatever they wanted to fight, but he was like, if they want weapons, I'll go weapons. Like, it's kind of like he wanted them to start it, but he was right there. But I don't know, like, where he had this. I mean, we'll get more into it when we get to him, but it definitely felt like he was.
Yeah. See, I saw that differently.
For that fight too.
See, I saw that differently. So we'll get into it when we talk about Riff.
Okay.
But I thought it was one after the other. I thought one of them pulled the knife and the other one pulled the knife when they saw him with the knife.
No,
I thought it was just immediate.
At the same time,
that was the whole dramatic scene and the flash.
Oh yeah, okay.
And then they just both. But they only show when they do the close up of the knife.
They only
show Nagos because it's a very brown hand.
Yeah.
And it's very shiny blade.
Yeah. He was the one that was itching for the fight the whole time too, though. He was the one that was like, I want to beat Tony's ass. I want to this, that, and the other thing, and blah blah blah. And he's the one too that agreed to the terms without knowing the terms fully. He just assumed he was going to be fighting Tony.
Well, because I mean, they didn't set the terms. It was like your best man against our best man, and he assumed Tony was going to be the best man.
Yeah. I say Gryffindor.
Gryffindor.
Alrighty.
He also has a little bit of a lion's
Anita?
He does. Anita.
Ravenclaw.
Anita Margarita.
Anita Josefina del Carmen,
etc.
Ravenclaw.
I had her as Slytherin.
She has the most witty comebacks.
She does. She's snarky. That's not just Ravenclaw. That's Slytherin too.
Yeah.
And she's the most like manipulative.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, girl.
Dude, well, no, because you think about like even like that whole thing with when they're going off to the fight, she's like, well, yeah, they can go do their little fight, and she plays Bernardo from the beginning. She's like, maybe I won't meet you. Like, I don't want to. Like, you're gonna be going to do this fight, and the second he's gone, she's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get all ready because I'm gonna fuck him tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, she was like, oh, because that brother of yours, after a fight, he's so healthy.
Yep.
I'm like, what?
Oh, I love her. And too, the whole thing with she handles Maria a couple times in the movie.
Oh, a couple times? She handles everybody.
She does. That's what I'm saying. Slytherin.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's definitely more Slytherin. Like, I guess, could agree with, but like, no, I feel like the way that she is snarky is just also the way she handles and delivers it is very Slytherin, I think.
Yeah.
That's true.
She's very smart. We're not saying she's so smart.
Her whole song.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think that is my favorite number.
I Want to Be in America.
Whole goddamn movie. Yeah.
Oh, good. That's my favorite, too. I want to go back to San Juan. I know a boat you can get done. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, I love her so much.
Oh, God. Fine, I will accept Slytherin.
Wow.
I just wanted her to be in my house.
Slytherin.
I just want to talk
Yeah, no.
I just want to talk about her so much.
And even And we're gonna get into more detail with it later because we're gonna be talking about some of the reactions from some of the guys. But the scene, how she handles herself,
dude,
it's amazing.
She's so strong.
She is so strong, and she
didn't let them break her spirit.
She did not let them break her.
She handles the situation by lying,
yes,
by delivering the wrong message.
Yes,
to get back at them, be like, you know what, you're fucking with me, but Chino killed Maria because she found out about her and Tony.
Yeah, so she, and that I feel like that too. That was very Slytherin of like, you fucked with me, now I'm gonna fuck with you.
Yeah,
it was very malicious. It was very, and she didn't try and fix it either. She did, because she could have like left and panicked and gone and try and fixed it, and she didn't.
She didn't. She just left.
She just left. She said
and
no.
Again, that's the last we see of Anita.
That's the last we see of Anita, is her being like, no, you're gonna fuck with me, I'm gonna fuck with you right back.
And even like right as she left and they were trying to touch her, she's like, don't touch me. Even though like, yeah, she like, you know,
she was just attacked, and she still like,
attacked,
don't.
And she still was like, don't even fucking try it.
Yeah, she's so fucking amazing. I love her.
Yeah.
Okay. So Slytherin. Riff.
Hothead.
Yes.
But he's very good at convincing.
He's also, you did point out, Ron, you did point out that he was very kind later towards baby John,
yes,
who is a crybaby.
Yes, because I remember in the beginning of towards the beginning, like the middle-ish of the movie, when they're talking about the Rumble, he's saying, oh, they might ask for guns, they might ask for knives, they might ask for rocks. And Baby John goes, well, gee. And he goes, I'm not saying they will, Baby John, I'm just saying they might. And he has his hand on his shoulder, he's comforting him.
He's very political. He's very much kind of like an oily politician. Like, hey, I'm not saying that they're going to do this, but if they do, we have to be ready. And I feel like it's a very much of a like the white fear type of thing, like fear the other.
Yes.
I take it, and I get that he's like comforting Baby John, but he just to keep him there, to keep him engaged, and so that he doesn't like run away type of thing.
That's true too. I just saw him. That's the biggest instance for me, but that's not the only instance of him being. He's compassionate, and he doesn't order, he asks, and he, you know, that one bit where he's like, what's your mood, Jets? Like, how are you feeling? He doesn't have to do that. He's the leader, but he asks, what do you think? Are we doing this? Do you think we should do this? I see him as a Hufflepuff.
I don't. I see that as manipulation. I see it as, here, let me put all of this stuff in your head. What are you going to do about it now? Like, what is the only recourse that we have? Are you going to chicken out and just let them have our streets and our playground? Or are we going to fight for it? That's what I see from that.
I can understand that. I guess I forgot. I guess I didn't really and again, I only watched it twice. And that was for this. So it was difficult to, I guess, pay attention to a lot of those extra details, but I guess I don't remember him being like that aggressive.
I don't think he was that aggressive.
He's not aggressive. That's how I perceive it.
I don't know. I didn't see it like that. I saw it.
Also, how did he convince Tony to go to the dance? Hey, maybe what you're waiting for is going to be at the dance.
No, he said that after Tony agreed. He said, who knows, maybe, yeah, it was as he was walking away. Who knows, maybe what you're waiting for is at the dance. He agreed it was based on that loyalty, and that's another big reason why I saw Hufflepuff. And even, too, with that, he very much is a big component of loyalty. He's the one that says it. When you're a jet till you die. This is it. And I saw what you were saying. I didn't see it more as manipulation. I saw it as a badger hunkering down. This is our territory. This is it. You mess with me, I'm gonna fuck you up.
I see it as manipulation more than just defending. Because, like, yes, he is defending his territory. He is hunkering down. But he's trying to rally his, his supporters, his army, whatever. And he's like, yeah. He's, like, instilling this fear into them so that they support him. Like, kind of egging them on-ish.
A little bit, but like...
Yeah, I guess I could kind of see how you might take that, but I do have to agree with Ron that I feel like it's more like he's getting to do this, but it's for the tribe. It's for the group.
Exactly.
I think it's like we have to do this because we have to stay united. We have to do this because that's what Jets do, because we're family. Exactly. As you were saying,
we're all we have.
Yeah.
It's his...
And then that's why they got into that song about all of their problems, like all their personal at home and psychological problems that people don't fucking talk about. They're like, this is what's really going on with us.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I really like too. And you get it, a lot of it from the very first The Jets song. Is you listen to that song and it's all about just these kids who just want a place to belong. And it's, you've got brothers around, you're a family man, and they're creating a home for themselves where they haven't had one.
Little man, you're a king.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that one. And it's that he's building a family because he doesn't have one.
Yeah, that's what we got into talking about chosen families, and that's exactly what that is.
Exactly. And he sees a threat to his family and he's going to snuff it out.
I still see Slytherin. I see your point in the Hufflepuff and the family thing, but the way that he goes around it, I see manipulation more. I just see more manipulation in it. But I see the Hufflepuff aspects into it, but for me, I see Slytherin.
Yeah, and I do see where you're coming from. It just didn't feel deliberate to me.
Yes, exactly. I didn't feel like there was that like malintent or like that it was very personally manipulative.
Slytherin, you don't have to be malicious.
No, I'm not saying this. Not necessarily malicious or malintent. Just deliberateness. Like for him, it didn't feel to me like he was saying this to convince them. It felt to me that he was saying this because he believed it from the gut, from his core. Like this is the truth, and that's what he believed. It wasn't he's trying to manipulate. Because even when you're doing it with the best intentions, when you're trying to manipulate, you're doing that deliberately. It did not feel deliberate to me from him. It felt like he is saying this to rally them, yes, but because he believes it down to the very fiber of his being.
Like he's talking from his gut.
Yeah. Like he's talking from his fucking heart.
Exactly.
I will accept it, but I don't like it.
That's
fair.
That's fair.
And I'll say too, I see what you're saying. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, and again, we're not like definitively putting people, like, obviously these are all our opinions, and
oh yeah, these are all our opinions.
These are agreed. Like, I'm sure if anyone is listening out there, they have their own reasons for why we could be completely wrong.
Oh yeah, and we're doing it too from majority. So there's always going to be dissenters. So. We argued for what was it, like half an hour on Mufasa, and I still didn't agree by the end.
Oh my gosh, I can't. Oof.
Yeah, this is definitely majority rules. So we take it with a grain of salt, but yeah, that's where we saw him. All right. Ice. For anyone who does not remember, Ice is the Rift's second, basically. And he once, because Tony's not really for sure in the gang. He's the Rift's second. He's the one that takes over after Rift dies.
He's also the tallest one in the group.
He also is very tall. He is. Here's your Ravenclaw for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had no idea where to put him.
I mean,
so where are you like putting him in Ravenclaw specifically?
The whole cool song, the whole like be cool about it, like hey, like be smart about how you go about this. Like yeah, we just had all of this shit happen, but you need to be smart about how we act so that we don't get caught. So we need to act normal. Once he takes over, he's like, you go over here, you go look for him over there, you go look for him over there. And then, like, anybody's was the one that found out, which we will get into as well, anybody's. She's the one that found out about Chino and the gun. Like, and he pulls out the bad news. And he goes, and she's like, well, what about me? And he goes, well, you're in and out of the shadows, right? Maybe you'll find him in one.
Yeah.
So, like, finally incorporating her into the game.
Yeah. Because he's smart enough to realize, like, just because she's a girl doesn't mean she doesn't have value.
Yeah, she's an asset.
Exactly. And he's the voice of reason multiple times. Like, in the very beginning, when they're saying, when Riff says, how are we feeling? What's our mood, Jets? And they're, I say go, I say sock 'em. And he goes, yeah, But if they say guns or knives, like, hey, let's be smart about this.
I see. Yeah.
He's the one that's like,
okay.
slow down, take a
It
second.
did also take me a minute. It took me like the second time that we watched it, and all you guys pointing it out to me repetitively to see who, because I was paying so much attention to, I guess, just trying to figure out who everybody is.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of characters.
I did kind of miss those as things that I remember, but I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, and we definitely skimmed this list down from a longer list.
Yes, we did. There's a lot of minor characters that they don't really have character development. They are mentioned quite a bit. You see them a lot, but they don't have character development, like Pepe.
Yeah. Chino. I don't think Chino's on our list.
Chino's not on our list. He could be on our list, and if you want, we can add him to the end and we can discuss him. He just doesn't have much of a character development.
Well, it's not even development, because we did agree that we're not necessarily analyzing the development, if not just their exposure of who they are, and we didn't really get a lot of them.
No, there's not much of him. He just he's more a tool to move the plot along.
Yes. I mean, the only thing you can really say is that he's very loyal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but he's in a gang. They're all going to be loyal to an extent.
Exactly. So we're not analyzing him. We're analyzing Ice.
Yes, we're analyzing Ice. I say Ravenclaw.
I say Ravenclaw.
Ice is definitely Ravenclaw.
Alrighty. Next is Baby John and Arab.
Yes.
And we're talking about them together because we didn't want to talk about Arab by himself. He doesn't have enough to be by himself, but his connection with Baby John kind of made me want to put him on this list because it's really interesting.
Yes.
So.
We did recognize the second time that we watched it that Baby John was also kind of the reason that they got into the Rumble because he was out there in shark territory marking.
He was tagging a shark's tag.
Exactly.
Yes.
In the beginning of the movie, after the opening number, the silent number, you see that there is a shark's tag, and it's huge. It's obviously shark territory. And Baby John is just finishing painting up the word stinks after sharks, so that it says sharks stinks. Or stink.
I think it's suck.
Suck.
I think so.
There's
a stink. I don't know. It's something like that.
It ends in a K.
It's something dumb.
It starts with an S and it ends with a K. It's either sucks, or stink, whatever. And he gets beat up. And then that's why they go into the whole, we need to get back at them, we need to do a rumble, I'm just going to challenge him type of thing. And it's because they beat up Baby John.
Yeah.
And Fred mentioned it earlier, I believe, when they're doing the meeting, when Nato and Riff are talking, it's like, oh, well, who beat up Baby John?
Yeah.
And then he goes, well, who beat me up? Who jumped me the first day I was here?
Yeah.
So yeah, Baby John is, I suppose, the catalyst to the Rumble.
Mm-hmm. He's like the, not secret, but like the first catalyst, because what really, I guess, put it through was that Tony and Maria, I mean, the whole Romeo and Juliet and the whole reason the story exists. Yeah. But like, as we do like analyze, it is like the first bomb, or the first.
Yeah, well, it's this pebble that sets off the rock, that sets off the boulder.
Yes, that one. He's the reason Riff wants to set up a meet.
Yeah.
To talk about the Rumble.
Yeah.
And then when he's gonna go challenge him about it, that's when Maria and Tony meet.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
He reminds me of like Neville Longbottom, Peter Pettigrew.
Yes.
Type vibes.
Yes.
And there's been, and I am not.
Movie.
Really, we do. I am not. By the way, just let me clarify, being like, oh, Neville is an evil traitor too, like comparing him to Wormtail. There's a lot of, or a shitty Gryffindor or anything. I love Neville. But there's been a lot of talk about how the trio and Neville are kind of the Marauders done right.
Yes.
Like what they should have been, and Neville is Peter Pettigrew as what he should have been. If he had been just a little bit braver, he'd listened to his Gryffindor core. So that's where I'm going with that, is that I think that Baby John is along those same veins, and he's the youngest of the gang. Mm-hmm. He's the newest gang member. and he's scared the entire time, but he still goes, he still fights, he still
I mean, he's in a gang. Like, he chose to be in a gang for a reason, so he has a certain quality, but I don't know what the quality is.
yeah, exactly.
I do believe it's bravery
Or,
in a
yeah,
sense,
that
because
way.
being in a situation in which you are consistently scared shitless of, and trying to get out of the way literally in the rape scene.
Yes.
He is literally trying to get out of the way, and he still ends up in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I think a more Gryffindor thing to do would be to try to stop it, but he does nothing. But he's still in the middle. He's in the thick of everything.
Yes.
He still shows up to the Rumble. He's still in the gang even after he gets beat up. And he gets beat up because he's in enemy territory tagging a tag.
Exactly.
So I do think that's a bit of a stupid Gryffindor, type of thing.
Courage, bravery, I'm smart.
Courage,
But it's kind of like
bravery.
that stupid young bravery where you're
Yeah.
like, where you're like 18 and you feel like you're on the top of the world and you're like, I know everything. I'm gonna go over here and tag this shit up, like, because I can. Like, what are you gonna do about it? And that feels very Griff.
Yeah. And a lot of part of being a Gryffindor too is that emotion, is that they feel emotion very strongly, and he's the only one we see on screen actually cry. Arab kind of tears up a little bit, I think, but he's the only one we see actually cry after Riff dies.
There's a whole scene about it.
There's a whole scene. There's a whole scene about Arab and Baby John, and Baby John's crying, and Arab comes and comforts him.
Yeah.
But he also did try to be like, well, stop crying.
Yeah, a little bit. But I mean, they're teenage boys.
Right.
They can only do so much. In the 60s.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can show for that.
Do you have a handkerchief? Or what did he ask for?
Yeah.
Like, just use your sleeve.
Right? Is your sleeve no good anymore? Whatever it was. So I saw Baby John as Gryffindor.
Yes, same.
And I just thought that loyalty was interesting. I kind of saw Arab as a Hufflepuff.
And he even defends him when they show up after that scene where they're like kind of crying, and they show up to with the rest of the gang, and like action kind of gangs up on Baby John, and Arab defends him too.
Yeah, I definitely see Huffle.
I kind of see a Hufflepuff in Arab because of Baby John.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So
we have a Gryffindor and a Hufflepuff.
Gryffindor and a Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff friendship.
A Hufflepuff.
The Hufflepuff.
A Hufflepuff.
All
right, now is action.
Ugh.
Yeah, a little bit.
It?
You put him on the list, babe.
Yes, are we in agreement?
I mean, there's not many places you can put action, to be honest.
He is like the most hothead of them all. The most vocal about getting down to fight.
He's impulsive. He's loud.
Yes. And he's the instigator of the rape scene.
He is. He's the one.
Okay, let's get into that.
Okay, yeah.
We've mentioned it a lot, and we haven't really gotten into it and how it is a rape scene.
Yes.
So, would you like to do the honors, Rob?
Sure.
Okay.
So basically, after Bernardo has died, and Tony has run off, he's gone to Doc. Doc is getting money together for Tony to run away with Maria. Maria is trying to go out to meet him, and Lieutenant Schrank shows up at their door and says that he needs to ask her some questions about her brother's death. So she can't go to meet him, so she asks Anita, stupidly, to go in her place and just tell Tony that she's been delayed, that she's still coming, but she's going to be late, basically. So Anita goes to Doc's shop. Tony's heading downstairs. Doc is upstairs. He is collecting the money. And all of the boys, minus Ice,
Yes.
are in the, is it a candy shop? It's a soda shop?
It's a candy store.
Yeah.
I believe they mentioned that at the beginning. I believe it's a candy store.
Yeah, so they're in the candy store. And, so she goes in and is trying to find Tony, and they start getting aggressive. And
they call her Bernardo's tramp.
yes. And they think that she's just there to try and trick them into giving
Seeing
them Tony. Giving her
Yes.
Tony.
They think she's there to spy for Chino to see if they can find Tony's location.
Yes.
And they're like, what? So you can, she wants to, because she knows Tony's there because he told Maria that's where he was going to be and that Doc was going to get, getaway money for them, right?
Yeah.
So Doc isn't there because he's trying to get the money. Ice is not there. We don't know why. And she's trying to get to the cellar because she knows that's where he is, but they won't let her by. So they physically bar her from moving. And then once they know she knows that Tony's there, they don't want to let her leave because they think he's gonna go tell Chino.
Yes.
So I suppose there is that bit of loyalty towards Tony because of what happened, because he avenged their leader's death.
Yes, and that's the aggressive bit.
And that's the aggressive bit. But
and then they start.
Take it too far.
They take it too far.
Calls her Bernardo's tramp, and they start flipping her skirt up. They take off her shawl, start pushing her around, literally pushing her around deeper into the store. Eventually, and her ending up on the floor. And this is when they're pushing her around. Is where Baby John is trying to get out of the way.
Because he doesn't want to be involved in this.
He doesn't want to be involved. Again, also anybody's, which we will also get into, I think, right afterwards, right?
Also, she also didn't want to be involved. She
was egging them on as well. She was also calling her names and saying things at the beginning.
But as soon as it got physical.
Mm-hmm. Not even physical. She's fine with physical. For her, it was once it started getting to be sexual assault. Because it may not have been outright rape, but this was definitely sexual assault. And I think that she saw this woman being sexually assaulted and didn't want to be a part of that. And it made her very uncomfortable. And she backed up and hid in a corner.
She did. She got scared. If you see her in the background, which we did, we saw this scene several times to analyze it like we are right now. If you see her expression, her and Baby John, they are scared in this situation. They want nothing to do with this, but they are already in the middle of it.
Yes.
And Action is leading and controlling and causing the whole thing to happen.
Action is the inciting spark. He definitely is. And, I completely forget. Is he one of the ones that grabs Baby John?
I don't think so. I don't think he's.
I think he's. That's true. So what they actually end up towards the end of it, they have 3 or 4 of them pinning Anita down to the ground, and then a couple more of them grab Baby John and are putting him on top of her.
And that's when Doc walks in
and stops it.
What are you doing?
Yeah. But Action is the inciting cause for that. He's the instigator. He's way in it. He's into it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's throughout the whole thing. He's hot-headed and he's angry.
That anger that he doesn't know what to do with.
Yeah. I will say, though, Action has a couple of the best lines.
He does.
He really does. I love the part where...
You make the world lousy.
We didn't make it.
We didn't make it. Shit.
Oh, that was so good. I love, too, when Doc was saying, when I was your age, he goes, when you was my age, when my dad was my age, when my brother was my age, none of you was my age.
Yeah.
And that's such a kid thing to think. Like
a teenager, you don't know what I'm going through.
Right? But at the same time, it is, the world is different from when Doc was their age. You know what I mean? Yes, he was at one point the age that they are at, but it was in a different world. And that's something that people forget is that, yes, when I was 15, I was this way, but I was also 15 in a time that isn't this time. And it's going to be a different experience for every generation. And I think that that's something that they hinted at with that. And I thought it was so interesting.
But at the same time, there are some basic aspects that never change.
Yeah. No, that's 100% true. But
I just don't know what characters, I think we almost feel like we don't want to place him anywhere just because he kind of is the most evil one in this entire movie.
He is, but I see him as a Gryffindor. I 100%. I see him Like, I'm sorry, he's very hot-headed, he's very brash, he's the first one that wants to jump into trouble. He's very loyal, too, and he is very much, he's a jet, and he wants to protect his friends.
And he
But
doesn't
he's
think
going
too
to-
much
I would
about his
see him-
actions.
In Harry Potter terms, I would see him as like a purist Gryffindor. Like he would be, if there was a
I see what you
Gryffindor that
mean.
would become a Death
Like a
Eater,
Gryffindor Lucius.
Yeah.
it would be action.
Yeah.
I agree
Like
with that.
I don't think he's smart. His hot-headedness doesn't allow him to become a Slytherin.
No.
He's not smart enough. He's not cunning enough to.
And Slytherin is literally the opposite of fire.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would say he's a Gryffindor, but like he would be like a pure-blood Gryffindor, you know, borderline Death Eater type of thing.
Lucius
I
Malfoy
don't.
as a
He makes me think of McLagan.
Maybe.
Little bit. For me,
I always call him McCormick.
McCormick. No, he makes me. For anyone who doesn't remember, because he was. He made it briefly into the movies, and
He's the one that throws up when
on Snape.
Yeah, when Harry tells him they're Dragon Balls.
Yeah. He's also the one that was in competition against Ron for Quidditch. He's the one that and it's not so much his personality, it's that like sense of entitlement and that like big-headedness that it kind of makes me think of McLagan.
I suppose. But I don't think Action has like a big head. He's just a hothead.
He's a hothead, yeah.
Yes.
It should not necessarily big head. It's that entitlement. It's that like
This
I'm
is mine,
right.
You can't come into
This is mine. You can't come into it. You don't understand me. You don't know what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And explaining it to you would just be a waste of time.
Yeah. I can see that. I don't see McLagan in it, but I do. Yeah.
Okay, so Gryffindor.
Gryffindor.
Alrighty.
It's making me feel shitty for being a Gryffindor.
Aww.
You do have
It's
some fossil
fair.
Gryffindors. It's okay.
You do. This
I
is just a
mean,
rough one for the Gryffindors.
This is a yes, and there, comes to show, not all Gryffindors are good,
No.
or, not necessarily good or evil, but
Fun.
they're not the sharpest knife in the toolbox,
Not always.
or in the kitchen drawer. I don't know, wherever you keep your knives.
Well, I think the saying is you're not the sharpest tool in the shed.
Yeah, that's why I don't know what I'm saying.
Alright. Anybody's.
Okay, well, we did already discuss a lot about her reaction. I think we should discuss exactly who anybody's is, because she's very important, and specifically in this time. Like,
Yes.
I honestly was like, I don't want to call her a tomboy, because she's almost very, I don't know. She never really said I'm a boy, or like, I don't know. Like,
But she wants to be one of the guys.
Right.
To
So
the point of her whole demeanor is very kind of androgynous to a point.
She does say I'm a girl, but I can still fight.
Yeah.
okay.
So she never says I'm a
Very
boy, and she does say
masculine.
I'm a girl, but she is very masculine, and at the time, too, she might not know that there were other options than that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But she did have her, the typical hair very short, wearing boy clothes.
Yes.
Because all of the girls
Were wearing dresses. Yeah.
I believe there may be one of the Puerto Ricans wearing pants at one point, but I'm not gonna say that for sure.
There was definitely at least one woman wearing pants in the last scene, because I remember noticing it.
Okay, yeah. Someone was wearing pants, but they were girly pants, like
Feminine.
feminine.
Yeah.
Kind of outfit.
Traditional style, because
Yes.
there is traditional clothing for the female body, and that's what
Yes.
we're talking about.
Yeah.
And she was wearing jeans and a cutoff shirt with like tennis shoes and like very short
Even
hair.
at the dance, I kind of loved it.
Yeah,
Oh,
at
yeah.
the dance she was dancing the guy part,
Yeah.
and then they kick her,
Yep.
like literally kick her butt out
Yep.
of the dance floor, and yeah,
I don't know where to put her.
same. I mean, I have her under Gryffindor just because I think it takes a lot of guts to want to get out of the role that she's in, because I believe I think it was Arab that was like, why don't you, no, it was Baby John that said, why don't you just go walk the streets like your sister?
Ooh.
That's right.
So she wants to get out of the role. So what I get the impression of anybody's, like, home life is that her female role models are not good. Therefore, she doesn't want to become them. So she's trying to break out of that role, and that's why she's seen how they have treated, Baby John or whatever, and kind of made their own family, and that's what she's looking for. And so she's breaking out of that mold that has been made for her.
You're kind of talking me into Hufflepuff here.
I'm okay with that. I just think it takes a lot of courage to do it, but Hufflepuffs are courageous as well.
I could see either, honestly, because yeah, she is, she's always spoiling for a fight. She's loyal to this gang even when they're not loyal to her. She comes back after they kick her out so many times, and she still helps them.
You know what? Riff treats her like shit. Ice is the one that welcomes her into the fold because he sees her value.
Yeah. But she's still loyal to the gang the whole time. Riff's treating her like shit. And she's the one that finds Tony. She's the one that gets him off the street. She's the one
that infiltrates enemy territory to find Tony.
Yeah.
Because I believe she's the only one that was like really paying attention to Tony and Maria, especially in the band.
Yeah.
And she's the one that goes back for Tony after the fight. Like when he's just laying there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And he turns over Naruto's body, and she's the one that goes back for him.
Yeah, that's true.
Tony, come on, let's go.
I don't know. What are you thinking, Fred? Because we're kind of talking each other into corner here.
I think it's because you're saying this, and I'm seeing a lot of what you're describing. I'm also seeing it as Gryffindor too, because I feel like yes, I know Hufflepuff, like, that's their main trait is loyalty, but I think that Gryffindors also have that same sense of loyalty to the pride,
Okay.
And that's and the way that she goes about a lot of things just feels very like you said, fiery. Like they just go and act, and I don't know, taking care of their own. But that's why I don't know what to say, because I'm in this battle between both of them. I'm like, I can't decide. I'm not being convinced about one specific one.
That's why she's tough. She's a tough one to categorize, because I see both. Like, she's so fucking loyal to this group. Like, she just wants to be a part of them so much that she endangers herself without being asked, without anyone even thinking about her. And at this point, she's even expecting to be pushed away, because even when Ice finally tells her, like, maybe you'll find him in one of those shadows, and she's like, dang, like, she just walks away, and he's like, hey, I don't know, he calls her back.
Oh, yeah, in the most awkward scene of all time.
Yes.
He goes, you did good, buddy boy. Thanks, Daddy-O.
Yeah.
Thanks,
so
Daddy-O.
She like craves this like family and this loyalty so much that she's willing to risk herself. And she's still a woman. She's still a girl. Like, can you imagine how much worse it would be for her to get beat up, to get caught? It's not like just like Baby John would get, beat up.
Mm-hmm.
She might get worse.
Yeah.
Than just a beating.
Does she know that? Is a good question, though.
I think she's aware of it, or it dawns on her when that scene happens at Doc's store.
That's true. Sorry, you were saying something, Fred.
Oh, I was going to say that I think I'm agreeing more with Hufflepuff, but did we want to talk about, I guess, more about her actions or response in the rape scene? Like, what traits in there were...
I think that's what would make her a Hufflepuff, because she did not step up to stop it.
Yeah.
She
that's
kind of
true.
hid. Like, I think the realization hit her, like, oh shit, this is going down. Let me back off, because I don't want to be a part of it. This is scaring me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go bury myself.
She looked scared, and she looked in pain.
Yes. Yeah,
and
I can see that.
And she was loyal, to her gang, but she's not loyal to her gender or her sex.
Mm-hmm.
No. But she, and to an extent too, I think she almost looked like resigned. Like,
Yeah.
fuck, like I can't do anything about this.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, it might have
Poor
been like, if I
thing.
try to stop
Yeah.
this,
It
they'll
was
try
so
to do the
painful to
same
watch,
thing
too.
me.
oh, that was such a painful scene to watch.
For so many reasons, that being one of them, just watching their reaction, because you can just feel what they're feeling about
Because
it.
if you're just watching the movie, like, you're seeing Anita's reaction and, you know,
What's
the
happening
gangs,
to her,
what they're
yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
But anybody's is still there. Like, you can see her at the beginning. She's in there and she's telling Anita stuff. Like, she's calling her stuff and egging the boys on. And then as soon as they start getting physical and kind of like sexual about it, she's not there anymore. And then you see her cowering in a doorway, you know?
Yeah.
Like, ready to run
Mm-hmm.
is how I see her. Because at one point, I think she even has like her hand behind her, which is like to the doorknob.
Yeah. No, that's true. You can see her. From the second the scene starts, you can see her. She's uncomfortable. Anita, at least, is very aware of what could happen and what probably would happen. She is aware that this is a group of men, young men, but men. She's aware that she's a woman. She's aware that she's alone. You see her pulling her shawl around her.
Mm-hmm.
And she speaks more tentatively than she would otherwise, because she's very much confident in herself.
Yes.
But she is surrounded. She's in enemy territory, and she's a woman in a time where women are not respected. Hell, still, they're not respected a lot of the times, but that's beside the point. And she knows what could happen and what probably is going to happen. That's something too, is I don't think anybody's realizes until it starts happening.
Yes.
Anita very much knows it could happen. Anybody's does not, because she's still egging them on. She's still like yelling at her because she just sees, she probably thinks that they're just going to punch Anita. Yeah. And that's not what's going to happen. That's never what's going to happen in that situation in that time.
Also, anybody's is not sure in herself. She is not a confident woman or a confident person in general. Like, even at the beginning, she, like, kind of hides herself in the group.
Yes.
So that she doesn't get noticed.
Yes.
She kind of tries to blend into her surroundings.
And part of that is because she knows if they notice her, they'll kick her out.
Right. But, like, even when they kick her out, she's like, come on, like, And, like, even when they're doing the meeting at the candy shop where Bernardo shows up, where the sharks show up, Riff, she's hiding, because they're going to kick her out. She doesn't want to get kicked out. But she's hiding, and she even, like, looks at him, like, pleadingly.
Yeah.
Not like, no, I'm not going to leave. She's just like, please don't kick me out.
And then she hits every shark on the way out the door. Yeah. It's hysterical.
She bumps into them and, like, pushes them, and then they're like...
She grabs the last one. Yeah, and they're all like, the fuck.
Which is another thing. Like, none of the sharks ever move against her, even though she physically, like...
I think that's part of the naturally, like, I'm not gonna hit a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the Jets kind of do the whole thing to Anita.
Yeah.
Right, but those were the two
They were never alone with her.
Those were two different groups. Those are two different groups.
Yeah, they're two different groups, and they were never alone with her, so you don't know what, but yeah.
True.
Yeah, so that's what did we decide? Because I have no clue. Hufflepuff?
I believe Hufflepuff.
Okay, yeah, I could see Hufflepuff. Definitely.
I could see how I said that earlier.
Because she didn't, like, kind of, like, stick up for herself.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Or others.
Yeah.
As much. Like, yeah, she's there for them, but she's not fighting the bully.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She's not going against the current, except...
She's hiding in the shadows.
Yeah, she's hiding in the shadows.
Honestly, every time I think of a Hufflepuff, I think about, and I can't think of their creature name in Avatar, but the Earthbenders, the original Earthbenders.
Oh, the Badger Moles.
Badger Moles. There we go. See? That's exactly who I think of when I think of a Gryffindor.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
All right. Lieutenant Shrank is an asshole.
Right?
He's a Death Eater.
He very much is.
That's what he is.
Death Eater. But Death Eaters come from all houses.
They do.
Right.
He's a fucker.
Motherfucker.
I put Slytherin.
I kind of defaulted to Slytherin
Mm-hmm.
because he's definitely okay.
Because he
'Cause he's
does it
like,
on
You guys can
purpose.
kill yourselves. You guys can fight or whatever. Just don't do it on my beat.
Yeah.
I don't care what you guys do. Just don't do it on my turf.
He also
I-
caused a lot of problems that didn't need to be. Like, yes, he would come on, like, the gangs were, like, the gangs would, like, stop being aggressive towards each other, and he was still egging them on, like, hey, what's going on? Like, hey, tell me this. And then would turn to the Puerto Ricans and be like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I'm going back and forth between Gryffindor and Slytherin. Because he very much shows his hands a couple times. And he very much is that, like, angry, hot-headed.
Like when he storms into Maria's room.
When he storms into Maria's
Yeah.
room.
He knocks and walks in at the same time when
Ugh.
Anita and Maria are talking. And
Yeah.
Maria, the only reason he doesn't go into Maria's room, like straight up into Maria's room, is because Maria walks out.
Yeah.
He was like on his way, like, dude, what if she's like naked or what if, something?
Yeah.
You're going into a 15-year-old girl's room.
Yeah.
You're barging in.
If you're barging in when they're telling you that she's indisposed, she wants to go see. She didn't really want to, but the excuse she said is that she needed to be with her brother. Like probably at the morgue or whatever.
Yeah.
Her parents, and he says, "No, I have to ask you questions first."
Yeah. And like I said, that kind of points me towards Gryffindor too.
Yeah.
But also the bit where he's egging the boys on.
Manipulative.
He's very manipulative. He's very much like, I'm on your side. I'm playing nice.
Hey,
and da da da
Baby
da.
John, where is it gonna be? Like they
Yeah.
always go towards Baby John, and you know what? Baby John never fucking cracks.
He doesn't. My boy.
He may be scared shitless, but he does not crack with either Lieutenant Strang or Officer Krupke.
No, I love Baby John. Honestly,
Yes.
I do. He's so sweet. Poor baby.
So yeah, I don't know.
Ugh, I hate to say it, but I think we have an addition to the shitty Gryffindor list.
I kind of.
See, this is ironic because you don't want him in Gryffindor, but you're saying Gryffindor. And I don't want him in Slytherin, but I'm saying Slytherin.
And I'm just caught between the two because that's what I don't know.
How did he react in the end scene? Because we haven't analyzed that one.
He didn't really say anything.
He didn't say anything, but his facial features were like, "Oh shit! Like what have we done?"
Yeah, he was sad. He was definitely sad. He arrested Chino.
He arrested Chino, and they didn't even cuff him.
No.
There was no police brutality.
No.
Yeah, not in that part.
Not in that part, but you know what? I think that maybe the only kind of reason that I would put him in a Gryffindor was that he did have a bit of like compassion when Maria was doing her whole spiel of like, now I have hate too. Like I can kill because I have hate. Like he kind of realized like, fuck, like this is really messed up.
What? I can't have compassion?
Huh? Well, no, I'm just saying. That's what would push me towards Gryffindor more.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I could see
Slytherin.
that for me wasn't an indicator. For me, the biggest indicator is, for both sides, honestly, is the problem, is the scene when they just set up the war meeting and he walks into the diner. That whole scene where he's alternating between trying to manipulate them into fighting him so he can arrest them. But then he's also like yelling at them and kicking people out. But he's also like trying to get them angry so that they'll snap so he can have an excuse to lock them up and question them. But he's also then kicking them out as well. And then
When it
Doc
doesn't
starts
work,
looking at him.
He's trying to manipulate them, and when it doesn't work, he just gets rid of them.
He just gets rid of them. He just gets angry. And then Doc is like looking at him. He's like, don't look at me like that. I should have more compassion or whatever. Like, you try keeping hoodlums off the streets and then see what it does to you.
Yeah.
So I feel like he might have been like I don't think that the manipulation is his go-to thing. He just kind of tried to do it.
Yeah, the more you're saying that, I'm thinking.
And he wouldn't. It's not his first thought to do it. Like I don't think he was like that. He just became that after so many years.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe it's a Gryffindor.
Yeah, because I think that
Gryffindor with a really tough job.
right. I think that I'm gonna say I think Slytherins are more smarter than Gryffindors, and that's exactly it. Like the manipulative part about a Slytherin is more like they know what they're doing because they're really smart. They know how to do it. It's very difficult to exactly. The cunning part is that's where it is. And for Gryffindors, I think it's just more experience. And again, that stupid bravery. We're like, yeah, whatever, I'll do it. It's not because I thought of this through and I planned it and I thought about everything. It's like, no, it's because I know that I can handle myself. And
like, I want this to happen, so let me just make it happen. I want to put the Puerto Ricans out of here, so let me just kick them out.
Yeah.
Since I can't arrest them, I'm just going to kick them out.
I will say, too, it is kind of indicative, now that I'm thinking about it, that his big manipulation scheme is let me piss you off and get punched in the face so that I can put you in jail. Like, he's going to injure himself in his attempt.
Yeah, like, it's not very well thought out.
So Gryffindor, then, I think, yeah.
Doc? Oh my
Doc, our last is
Hufflepuff.
Doc.
Hufflepuff.
He is the
I love
That was the only one I could
man.
definitely do.
Not to mention, this is a business owner who's going to give his employee money so that he can leave and not work for him anymore.
While his gang hangs out in his candy shop upstairs.
Yeah.
And calls it his territory.
Dude, and then too,
like,
that
as
whole
a business owner, dude, what the
He's
fuck?
like, why can't we just get along?
Yeah, why do you
Right.
guys have to do this?
Like,
yeah. I love him. He's so good. He's so good. I did love too that exact scene I just said was, see what you did and blah blah blah. And he goes, yeah, wouldn't give me a mouth like that.
Yeah. Or when he's delivering Anita's message to Tony, like, you can see his heart like break.
Yeah.
As he's trying to tell Tony, like, there is no more Maria.
And then he
like,
tries to hug him.
Yes.
And Tony gets out of the way, and you see him just like lean against the wall, like fuck.
Yes.
Oh, that broke my heart. I love Doc. He's so sweet.
It's complete.
Am I the only one, side tangent, since A, we're almost done, and B, I want to talk about Doc some more. We got him kind of quick.
Yes.
Am I the only one that kind of got, like, veteran vibes from him?
No, I think I mentioned it while we were watching that, okay, so this is happening in the 60s. He's old enough to be a World War II vet, which is what I'm getting.
Yeah. Like, I definitely got vibes from him that he's a war vet. Especially when
why are you always trying to kill each other?
Yeah, and war over, a couple of streets and da-da-da-da.
Yeah, like, I get the feeling that he's seen worse.
Yeah.
So, like, you shouldn't be at this boiling point. Like there's so much more, like, world out there. Like, why are you guys trying to kill each other over a street?
Yeah.
Yeah, Doc is I don't know, like, I get kind of like grandpa vibes. Like,
yeah, I could
Definitely.
definitely see where I wasn't getting it because I wasn't paying that kind of attention to it. I was just like, cute old grandpa who's selling candy in a candy store. Because the candy store also very looked like the candy store from Willy Wonka, and that's where my head went. Okay.
It did a little bit. And two, he's
the candy man.
He's the one that stopped them when they were attacking Anita.
Yeah.
He was the one that stopped them, and
he's like, what are you doing?
You make this
wait a
world
minute.
lousy.
That's exactly why we said anybody's was a Hufflepuff, because he didn't stop them. Is that an aged and wise Hufflepuff?
Yeah, I feel like it's aged, and again, we said
authority, because he has authority in that.
He is already an authoritative figure.
Yeah.
Like, he's not, they don't listen to him as in, like, don't do it, like, just stop fighting. But it's like, they respect him enough where this is it's his store.
Mm-hmm.
There's no risk for him stopping that.
Yes.
There's risk for anybody's. There's no risk for him.
As well, he's a man.
Yeah. He's a man. He's an elderly man. Like we
He's
just
an
said, he's
elderly white
probably
man.
a war vet. I don't think he is scared of any of these kids.
Yeah.
Anybody's
true.
definitely is seeing this, and she was probably
And
scared.
she's scared of them.
Yes. Okay. Wanted to clear that up.
No, that's a good point. Okay.
All
Yeah.
right. So that is our list, and dear Lord, is it lopsided?
This was a long one.
This was really interesting
because
because
so much time.
yeah, and going into it, I had no idea. I honestly wasn't very sure where we were going to put a lot of people.
Oh yeah. No, I'm pretty happy with the list.
I am. I think
I'm
that's
not.
why we have such a big discussion about it because a lot of them were hard to place.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a lot shorter list than we had originally.
And there's a lot of very heavy themes that go into
Yes.
consideration because this is exactly the kind of things that we analyze about these characters is what do they do in these core events, these raw like moments of you have very short time to think about what you're going to do. That's the characters that the hat is looking at. That's what he's doing. He's like, what are you going to do in this moment of emergency, of danger? How are you going to respond instinctively?
Yeah. What is at your core?
Exactly. And that's what we were analyzing.
Alrighty, so in Gryffindor, we have Maria, Bernardo, Baby John, Action, and Lieutenant Shrank. I'm never going to get that right. In Hufflepuff, we have Tony, Riff, Arab, Anybody's, and Doc. In Slytherin, we have Anita. And in Ravenclaw, we have Ice. And that's it.
Wow. Again, I'm going to emphasize this was a shitty Gryffindor list.
We have 5 Gryffindors, 5
Bernardo
Hufflepuffs.
isn't that shitty.
Nah, Bernardo's awesome. I like Bernardo. I love Baby John. Baby John was a good
I do love Baby John.
We have a fair amount of, the Hufflepuffs and Gryffindors or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But the Ravenclaw and the
Slytherin.
Each one on each side.
Yeah, no, we have the same. It's 5 Gryffindors and 5 Hufflepuffs, and then it's 1 Slytherin and 1 Ravenclaw.
Woo.
Yeah.
Wow, for that kind of list, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I mean, this is what happens when you don't have enough Slytherins and Ravenclaws to balance out the hot-headed and the dire loyalty.
If 2 people die.
People die. People bring knives to a punch-out fight, and people die.
Dude, okay, but the rest of that rumble, people were pulling out everything.
Yeah, they
were
were
ready for the other. They didn't trust the other side.
Nobody
they didn't trust each other.
Okay, can we also talk about that fight scene where the Jets show up and they're literally higher, and they're just standing there making the Sharks look up at them.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Such a hierarchy.
Symbolism.
Yeah.
Like, we're better than you.
Yeah.
But we're gonna lower ourselves to fight you.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting how you did point that out because I was noticing how the Sharks got there first because they also did come from that entrance. They came from the higher and then went low.
No,
didn't
they?
They?
Through the other side.
They came in through the other side, but they still hopped the fence to get there.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. Which is, also bad.
And also illegal because they're under a highway.
Oh, that too. But yeah, it's
a good movie, y'all. If you haven't seen it, definitely watch it.
It's a very political movie. It's very fun. It's got some great characters, great songs.
Yeah, if you're not a musical person, you're gonna have to tolerate it for sure.
It's a musical.
It's a musical,
Yeah.
and the way that they fight is also amusing. They're all ballerinas. I'm gonna give you that warning. They're all ballerinas.
Yeah, they did a good job though.
It was beautifully choreographed.
Really good.
The story was amazing,
The
and
color schemes as well.
yes,
The
it was
sharks-
all very well designed.
Yeah.
Sharks are like reds and purples, and the Jets are very blues, yellows, oranges.
And I'm a sucker for a stage scene, and that's exactly what the background was, and I love it.
Oh yeah, it's a good movie. It's a good movie.
It's very well done.
Alrighty. Well, that is our list. Thanks for tuning in. Join us next week where we will be talking about Tangled.
Oh.
Yup. Very excited. I love that movie. It's such a good movie.
Oh.
I know. Tangled, the story of my hair. It's always tangled.
Tell me about it. Oh my god.
Curly hair problems.
Ugh.
Which is funny because she did not have curly hair.
She did not.
She was straight
Okay.
blonde.
We'll
We'll get into it.
We'll get into
it.
Alright. Thanks for tuning in. This is Ron.
Peeves.
And Fred.
See ya.
Later.